Like the originality was at an all-time high back then, like all different unique characters. Like if you go look at what's happening right now and then go look what happened back then, it's two different things, man. I mean, people are implementing the stuff that was happening back then for sure, but now you have less originals.
Yo, welcome to CypherBeastT.V. Sick Ace B-Boy on the show. He's been in movies like Step Up 2, You Got Served, Dance with Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera, and crew called Styles Element. We got no other than Bboy Crumbs. On this episode, we will go over how he got on roles in Hollywood, talking about his training and mindset, and so much more. I'm your host, Tony47, and do me a huge favor, subscribe, like it, share, follow, and enjoy this episode.
Yo, what up? How you guys doing today? I got a real treat on the show today. He's in Style Elements Crew, California. Bboy Crumbs. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, brother Tony? Doing good, man. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, dope. And you've been in the game since, I don't even know, early 90s and still 93. Doing it until this day. Wow, that's amazing. So it's what, 3 decades roughly?
31 years, yeah.
30 years, 31 years. Wow, that's amazing.
Great.
And that's so crazy. That's awesome. I love it. And you're still doing it to the day as a doing it full time. I think you're doing right now, full time B-boy.
Yeah. And full time means a lot of different avenues than just the dance itself. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, full time.
Awesome. Dope. For most of you that don't know Crumbs, check him out on his YouTube channel. What's your YouTube channel?
Just YouTube.com/Bboy Crumbs. BBOY CRUMBS.
Dope. Cool, man. Let's start almost from the beginning, but what year were you exposed to breaking?
I wasn't even exposed to breaking till say 91 or 92. Because I grew up in Panama in Central America. And in Panama, we didn't always get all the movies that came to the States, like Beat Street and Wild Style, all the movies that showed breaking. Right. So we didn't get those movies and I never saw it. So moved to California in 89. I was like 10 years old and I got into a thing called rexing, which is dancing on roller skates. This is before rollerblades was invented. Right. So the 4 wheels. And so that was my I was already dancing like more other styles on the feet, but really started, dancing on skates and stuff. And one day at the roller skating rink, some kids started breaking. And that was my first time I ever seen it with my own eyes, And then from there, it led me to Beat Street and Wild Style and all those movies. So I caught up late in the game. But I started personally, put the skates down in 91. And I wouldn't say I started breaking in 92 because we weren't doing footwork. We weren't doing proper freezes. It was just a 1-arm handstand freeze and some alpha kicks and stuff like that. So, but when I started doing more footwork and power moves and understanding what breaking is, I would say in 93.
Dope. Okay. And you pretty much just gravitated to that and loved it ever since.
That's it, man. Took over.
Yeah.
I was always getting into different sports and athletics and stuff like that. I tried so many different things and, I would do it for a couple months and it's not for me. Go on to something else and it's not for me. And I would get decent at each one of those things. I would get good, but it didn't move me, When I was rexing, I was competing the dancing on roller skates. I was competing for 3 years and I really enjoyed that. I would win first every single time I competed. And just like breaking, you would go travel to different cities and, compete against the best from all these different cities and stuff in your age bracket and stuff. And I won so much that they wouldn't let me enter in my own age bracket. So I was 10 years old and I had to enter in the 13 to 18 year olds, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So I really enjoyed that. But then when I saw breaking, I was like, okay, let me try this and got into it and still doing it ever since. So it stuck with me.
Oh, that's sick. And, what source were you using back in the day to get connected to this type of stuff? The people in the community, How were you getting exposed to jams or exposed to, sessions around your city and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, first of all, there was no YouTube. There was
Right, right, yeah.
there's not a lot of videos to watch. We literally didn't have much to go off, but that helped us innovate our own styles and moves and character. And we had to create, we had to invent because we didn't have much to watch. So it was a blessing in disguise. Um,
Ah,
but in our city, the 209, which is like Modesto, Stockton, Lodi, the Central Valley of California,
uh-huh.
it was raw. Like the dance scene was like hype, right? You had all types of different styles of dancers, from house dancers to poppers to breakers. But we actually called it housing, like around 91, 92, 93, and mixing like house dancing and breaking moves and stuff like that. Because like I told you, the breaking wasn't like evolved yet, right?
Uh-huh.
We didn't like know all the fundamentals and the elements. So we just kind of mixed everything,
Okay.
and which in turn helped style elements create what we created today, right? Like what everybody's doing now is like future fundamentals because of that. So we had all these dope jams like in the Central Valley and in the Bay Area. We're about an hour and a half drive from San Francisco or Sacramento or
Mm.
San Jose. So every weekend we would go to clubs over there. And I was like 13 years old going into clubs because I
Uh-huh.
knew all the older cats, like all the older best dancers, and they would bring me in. Um, so we had those jams and we just cipher, all night and just create. And that was our exposure at that time, early 90s, mid 90s. And
Yeah.
yeah, so it was a beautiful thing, but we always had something cooking, right? It was never a dull moment in the Central Valley 209.
Wow. Wow. And back then, I mean, even probably till this day is a little different, but you would, go to clubs, jams, and just rep yourself, rep your crew, your city. Definitely.
And I just want to add on, like,
Yeah.
that's kind of the difference from most younger breakers coming up today, is that like what I just said, I was going to clubs at 13 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
now these kids, they don't go to clubs and break. They don't go to like jams. They go to competitions. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
it's a little bit different. Like that's why a lot of breakers can't really cipher that good, or they're
Mm.
not like they're scared of it, or it's just like it's a whole different beast. But they can fly and do crazy moves and stuff like that, but they can't catch grooves. And like you put on a house track and flip that style to that house music or to that pop, that funk, or whatever they play, adapt to anything, right? Like in a
Wow.
club.
Yeah.
And that's what we always did. Like the rave scene in the 90s really helped us adapt to anything, right? Because they play all different types of music, all different types of rooms, and we would jump in all the different styles of ciphers and pick up a little bit here, pick up a little bit there, and then a melting pot of our breaking style. Like that's how we developed all that stuff. So
Dope.
um,
Dope.
I would definitely like tell kids nowadays to go to more clubs and dance. You know what I'm saying? Like it's only going to help
Yeah.
you in the competitions even more, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of build that self-confidence, being around the crowd, getting used to the environment.
Hmm.
Nice. Nice. And speaking of the exposure, and that's what you would do to get your exposure, right? Through back in the day. And now it's like competition, you said. Even biggest thing is content, right? Through social media platforms. And you done a lot of great things with your dance. Definitely seen it around the world, seen it everywhere. I know you've been in film and videos. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? So I know you've been in like Breaking vs. Crumping.
Hmm.
You got served, Step Up too. How did you end up getting these type of gigs?
Oh, it's the Hollywood process, man. It's a whole different game, a whole different beast. But try to make it short, long story short.
Yeah, yeah.
In 98, um, in 98, I moved to Los Angeles because I saw Flowmaster and Little Caesar in a commercial, in a Gap commercial.
Ooh, okay, okay.
And yeah, I just remember one shot that blew me away. It was a clear, see-through floor, and they shot the camera from underneath. So it had little Caesar drilling head spins, but you saw the underneath. And then Flowmaster did a one-arm freeze and waved to the camera underneath, and like sick ass
Ah,
shot. You know what I mean?
okay,
And I was
that's
like,
dope.
damn, okay, if they could do it, I can do it, because I was already like in beast mode. Like we had already won championships like for years, you know what I mean, all around the world. And that was just the next step, right? Now it's like, okay, now let me make some real money doing what I love to do in the
Right, yeah.
industry. So went to LA, me and Ramon got a house together, and actually Joe Coy too. I don't know if
Oh,
cats
wow.
know that comedian. Yeah, we all lived together, and all struggling artists, you know what I mean? Like, and we all came up together in LA. So the process, it's first you got to get into an agency, right? And then once you get into
Okay.
an agency, then the agents let you know about the projects that are coming up, and they let you know where the auditions are held at. So you go and you audition, and you got to probably get picked over 100, 200 other people. It depends how many people they're looking to
Mm,
hire. So, and then it depends on if you're doing choreography, or if it's freestyle, or if it's freestyle and choreography. Sometimes it's both, right?
wow.
So, for the movies, it's usually both. You know what I'm saying? Like you go in there, and they'll teach you like a 6/8 count routine, and then you get that, and then little by little they start cutting people, cutting people, cutting people, cutting people,
Oh,
and then
wow.
it takes like all day, man, and everybody's sweating bullets, and it's just like it's a job, man, and you don't even get paid for that part. So they wind it down to like 10 people, right? And then usually, and then those 10 people they ask to freestyle, you know what I mean? And that's when we're like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like, because
yeah,
we
it's your
blow
cup of tea.
everybody
Yeah.
up, because they was not on our level at all. We were just different. We were just beast. And a lot of those people in LA, they grew up doing choreography, so that's all they know. They're kind of
Mm,
scared to freestyle, or they couldn't freestyle. You know what I mean?
yes, right,
So we
right.
always shined. We always shined and blew everybody up. So that's how we went. Right when we got to LA, we started. Our first job was with Christina Aguilera. You know what I mean? Like straight
Oh,
to the
wow.
top. You know what I mean? And we stayed there for a long time. Like just booked everything. Um,
Sick.
that
That's
was
awesome.
that was a different time. There wasn't that many breakers in the industry. There was only like a handful of us, less than
Mm.
10. I can name them all right now. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And then in turn, we inspired everybody from all around the world to move to LA and do exactly what we're doing. Now you have like 100
Wow. Okay.
breakers in each agency. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different
Yeah.
game now. More, it's overpopulated and less pay.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? So it went
yes.
like, so got to make that exit. Got to know when to fold them. You know what I'm saying? And do
Yeah.
something else,
Yeah.
because it's not even worth my time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. That the experience through that and learning from what year would you say would that from what early
The
2000s?
industry, man, yeah, 98 till probably like 2014, 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, was in the game for a
Wow.
minute. You know what I mean? And then it
Yeah.
just wasn't worth it anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
especially when you know what you know about the industry, like being there that long, and you know how it really works. And it's there's a ceiling, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they don't let you
Yeah.
get higher than they want you. You know what I mean? Those people that sit in those positions of power, they're gonna sit there for a long time. They're not gonna let anybody
Right.
take
Right.
their spot. You know what I mean? And once you realize that, it's like, okay, yeah. And you start like giving away your ideas, thinking that I scratch your back, you scratch mine type of thing, but it's only a one-way street. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Other
right.
people get all the credit for your work and your ideas, and they keep getting higher and higher, and you stay at that mid-level, even though you're the one creating all the noise, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
It just is what it is.
Damn. Damn. So was it through your movies and films, those are gigs, definitely they give incentive to keep you doing this, full time, long term, right? And what
Mhm.
other sources are you doing? I know you're judging quite a bit around.
Yeah.
Obviously winning, competitions, winning definitely part say of it too. Um, are you have you currently are you doing a lot of traveling and judging
Yeah. Yeah. A
too?
lot. Like mostly more judging than competing these days.
Right. Yeah.
I still compete. I've been competing since I started in the highest levels and still till this day. You know what I mean? Like I'm competing next
Wow.
month, April 7th, Lords of the Floor. Like
Oh,
I'm
right. Yep.
44,
Yep.
I'm 44 years old and I'm going to be battling kids that are like still in their late teens, early 20s. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that
Yeah.
are the best in the world right now. Like still there, still doing it, man. Like, not a lot of people can say that. Uh,
For sure.
and never stopped. You know what I'm saying? Like people come in the game and maybe they've been breaking as long as me, but they quit for 10 years and came
Yeah.
back, or they took 3 years off, or whatever the case. I mean, everybody got different situations, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Family, jobs, whatever the case may be, laziness, um, passion dies down. Mine never burnt out, and I always
Wow.
found a way to keep going. You know what I mean? And it was never hard. I mean, it was never easy. You know what I
Right.
mean? But I
Right.
always made it happen and found a way. Um, but what was your question again?
Uh, just what it takes to be, what you're up to, but what you
Oh,
just
oh yeah.
said to I had a question on top of your passion, your fuel to do it.
Mhm.
Was it always with you, or did you have like any mentors or coaches to help like push you to you know get to this side, or hey, maybe you should judge this jam, or just people hitting you up, I assume, or did you have a plan to do it, or was it just kind of like mentor and coaches help you guide that path?
Yeah, I've always had people I looked up to, especially, coming up, people like Ken Swift, Crazy Legs, Storm, Flowmaster, Little
Okay,
Caesar,
okay.
Orko, like the G's, Easy Rock, like all these guys. None of them really sat me down and taught me, but I watched, you know what I'm saying? And I
Fire. Yeah,
learned
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot from
yeah.
watching
Sick.
them, and I was inspired by them. And inspiration was different back then. We didn't just bite their moves. I would get inspired by one of their moves I liked and totally flip it. So I just took the energy
Mm.
from it and made it my own. You know what I'm saying? So like they wouldn't even know that I got the move from them because it looked so different. You know what I mean? That's the
Yeah.
part of creating and the mental game in breaking. It was just different back then. Inspiration was different, and biting wasn't allowed. It was like the blueprint. It was kind of one of the golden rules that doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, definitely had mentors. I wouldn't say coaches. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Because what they just was, it wasn't around back then. We didn't have schools. We didn't have any of
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Now we do. You know what I mean? Um, Judging. I started judging maybe. I wouldn't really accept judging jobs until I was 10 years deep in the game.
Okay.
I got offers a lot because I was already like killing it, winning world championships
Wow.
and all that. But to me, it was disrespectful to the game for me to be judging at 17 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
even though they're asking me, because I had a lot to learn still. Yeah, I was the best in the world at what I do, but I still had a lot to learn in all these other areas. And I knew that. And I just think in general, like people need to wait, like settle down. You know what I'm saying? Your time will come when
Yeah.
it's the right time, then accept those jobs. But at least 10 years, like in
Right.
the game, consistent.
Yeah.
So I didn't start judging until like really until like 2002, something like that. I would do some local stuff, you know what I mean? Like, but as far as like on a big scale, world
Right.
championship
Yeah.
type events, I waited like 10 years. So now, yeah, just a lot of judging. I am certified Olympic judge for the Olympics.
Oh, dope.
So
Sick. Okay.
I've been judging a lot of the qualifiers all around the world this whole year in 2023. Um,
Wow.
Hopefully, I'll be one of the judges in Paris. We'll see. Who knows? Um, Yeah, just mixing a lot of different avenues, man. That's how I stay afloat. I got my own school,
Yeah.
Six Step Academy here in
Oh,
Atlanta,
okay. Word.
Georgia. You know, I plan on opening more around the US. So also teaching all the time.
Sick. Sick.
You
Okay.
know, got the online courses for, you know, people that can't come to my studio. You know how the game is now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything's online. So got
Yeah.
the online market, sixstepacademy.com,
Dope.
bboycrumbs.com,
Okay. Heck
and
yeah.
you know, doing the YouTube thing, making sure that every single area is being worked on daily. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of work, but that's the
Oh
only
yeah.
way to survive as
Yeah.
a breaker in this game, you know, today.
Yeah.
Unless you're
Yeah.
like
Definitely.
young and you're competing at the highest levels all the time and winning championships, you know, 10,000 here, 10,000 there. They can do that, you know what I'm saying? But that's how the percentage wise, how many is that? Like 2% of
Right.
people in the
Yep.
game? Like
Yep.
that's not a good feeder system, you know?
Yeah, definitely. You got to find ways to help feed it to do it long term, right?
Hmm.
Um, Social media is huge today, and that's never gonna go away. But different, offering coaching, mentorship, studio workshops type of stuff. That's awesome that you're doing it. A lot of people that been dancing maybe 20, 30 years never really found a way to do it long term, right? And so, like I've been through it. I quit, came back, quit, came back, just like, oh yeah, I'm doing this, but obviously I need to provide. I got 3 kids and stuff like that. And so
Yeah,
definitely now I'm just balancing it. I'm like, I still love the scene, love the culture, love everything about it. And for me, it's like, how do I do it long term, right? And I just thought like maybe I'll get into travel and battles, but then I'll do content on the way there, just kind of keep it all balanced together. And definitely takes a lot of time to do all of it. You know, and it perfectly, or balancing everything out to make every avenue good or great, stuff like that. So
absolutely, man. But if you're passionate about it, then you know you're doing the right thing, man. And time doesn't really become an asset when you enjoy doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
you know, you're spending the time on something that you believe in and something that you want to do. And it takes time for it to grow. You know what I mean? A lot of people get frustrated and they want to blow up quick. Same thing in
Right.
the dance, right? Everybody
Yeah.
wants to jump from A to Z without going through B, C, D, and E, right? But you can't do that. There's no shortcuts in this game. You know what I mean? You've got to put the work in. So as long as you're
Yeah.
willing to do that, you're gonna be good, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. When you said shortcut, it's kind of like everything too, right? In life, right? So it's like there's no other hard way. Just get in, grinding, and do the work.
Hmm. That's it.
Oh man. There's a question. So with your judging and stuff and through the culture, some things, have you done jams that were like through a favor, maybe it's not as a much incentive you would like, but you love the culture and you do it, even like maybe big jams, and but do you take a precedent and be like, okay, the people are throwing it, but the exposure within it is also great? Or what are your thoughts within like the loving the culture and doing it, and then depending what situation of the jam, how big scale it is with the exposure? Um, that question kind of bounced. I'm not sure if you understood.
No, I get it, man.
Okay.
Man, I've been doing free shit my whole career. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it gets to a point where you have to really limit that stuff. You know what I mean? And it's no
Yeah.
hard feelings type of thing. But when it comes to working with friends, that's a like real friends in your inner circle. That's a different story. You know, usually there's
Right.
trade-offs like this. Hey, I'm gonna judge your jam, and then you come help me out with my jam. You know what I mean? Or whatever
Right.
the
Yeah.
case may be. It's always like we're working together type of thing. So the exposure is like, um, if I'm gonna get good exposure from judging a jam, then that jam is big enough to pay me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, those days are done.
Dope. Okay. Cool, man. Nice. How are you staying active today?
Training all the time, all the time, man. Of course, I can't train as long as I used to in my teens and my 20s. I used to train 10 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week. You know what I'm saying? Like that ain't
Yeah.
happening. I go in and I'll do like an hour and a half or even an hour, but I hit it hard, you know, and then shut it down, listen to my body, go home, rest and recover. Um, Depends if I'm training for a battle, or if I'm just training for maintenance. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm training for maintenance, I'll probably train 2 to 3 times a week. If I'm
Okay.
training for a battle like I am now, I'll try to train 5 to 6, but
Wow.
not all breaking. Like I do other stuff because breaking is so hard on the body, man. Like that's how
Hmm.
you get injured, especially when you're my age, or still competing, at my age. You don't want
Yeah.
to break your body down. You're trying to get to the battle as
Yeah.
healthy as
Right.
possible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of swimming, a lot of I have my Crumbs Fit program where I mix like a lot of high intensity training with
Oh, word. Oh,
some
yeah.
breaking, some cool breaking, more simpler type things that you do over and over, like 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off type of deal.
Okay.
Yeah, anybody interested in that can look on my YouTube and check out some of my my workouts and stuff that I do. So a lot of that, man, and just creative ways to stay healthy and stay keep my stamina up and my strength up and everything without breaking my body down.
Nice. Nice. That's almost getting into like an athletic sports, system, right? Where you got to make sure you train this, eat the right stuff, and prepare how many days or months for this jam. You got to make sure you're in shape or ready to go. So
And we didn't have this information back then, like in the 90s or even early 2000s.
yeah,
Now it's all out there, man. Like, you know, people weren't
yeah,
telling, like the NBA didn't have conferences back then, or, football didn't have like all the stuff that we have now to get the information. Now the cat's out the bag, like all the training
right.
techniques, all the tips, all the stuff that they do, all the supplements that they take, you know, and we got it all. We got all the knowledge now. So,
Yeah,
there's no
yep,
excuse not to train smart anymore, you
yeah.
know. And for a lot of these kids, like coming up and breaking, um, I would say like definitely put more hours into your breaking training, but also not too much. You know what I mean? Like use some
Mhm.
for other types of training to get stronger in other areas and more flexible, and all that stuff that your body needs, right? Because breaking
Yeah,
breaking is does kind of work out everything. It's strength, it's stamina, it's flexibility, depending on your style. You know what I mean? If
right,
you're like a
right.
well-rounded type of cat, if you're a well-rounded type of cat, then you probably only need to break. You know what I mean? If you're
Uh-huh.
young. But if you're the type of cat that just likes to do kind of one or two different styles and are neglecting like all the other avenues, then you got to find other ways to work out and build that other flexibility and strength and stamina.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think one of the toughest, well, for me is stamina, right? I can do
Mhm.
1 or 2 rounds after that, I'm kind of gassed out, and so
Yeah, breaking, man, it's
definitely,
hard.
yeah, man, that's tight. That's dope. You mentioned like the exposure of the knowledge, right? It's out there. One of the things is like, hey, we can give you the blueprint to do this. You know what to do to get a six pack, but you have to put in the hard work to get there. And so, there's no easy path, like you're saying. So that definitely takes a lot of time and hard work to get to the level that you want, right? And so, what are your thoughts with content and podcasts, um, social media type of stuff? I know you say you're doing YouTube things. Definitely drop in, what history stuff, courses or workshops or tutorials you're doing, right, and stuff like that.
A little bit of everything. A little bit
Yeah.
of everything, man. Like all the way from I look at my YouTube as my career video vault. So I
Mm,
have footage
nice, nice.
from the 90s all the way till now. Like, and my library is like it's a rabbit hole, man. It's the never ending story. Like I can post videos until I die, dude. Like it's deep.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm always creating more daily because I'm still breaking, and I'm still
Yeah.
creating new content. Um, so it's that I do some free tutorials, some free breaking tutorials on there. I also do mini documentaries. So like right now I'm doing one
Dope,
for
dope.
Lords of the Floor, right? Like a road to Lords of the
Okay.
Floor, which I
Yes.
did like road to freestyle session. The last two ones I did, and they're all like an hour and a half long form, you know, so it's not really a mini
Nice.
doc. It kind of is a doc. But stuff like that that I know people aren't really on and they're not really doing.
Right.
And I
Yep.
know right now it might not do big numbers, but I know in the future people are going to
Yep.
be like, oh shit, this guy was like ahead of his time with that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so I
Yes.
like to
Yes.
document, I like to document all of it because people, they don't see what we go through. You know what I mean? All they see is
Yeah.
us at the battle, and they think that we're just like always ready like that. Like, no, it takes like a lot of fucking hard work to get there. You know, there's a lot of blood, sweat, years and tears, man, that goes into this. And you know, the preparation is it's hard. It can get really hard, especially
Yeah.
you've been doing it for 31 years. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
motivation, you know, some days you feel like shit, dude. You know what I mean? You gotta like push yourself to go train anyways, you know, and get the
Yeah.
job done. So, you know, I think people at some point they're gonna want to see that. They're gonna want to see like what it really takes to be a fucking high level breaker, you know.
Yes.
So got a lot of stuff like that on my YouTube too. And just, you know, a plethora of different things. I mix it up, different avenues, some motivational speaking type stuff, and just knowledge of history of things I've been through in the game and what worked for me, and, you know, hopefully may work for the next guy. You know, you never know. So I just like to
Yeah.
pass it on.
Hell yeah, man. Wow. That was great. That's a great knowledge drop. So definitely inspiring to me and hopefully the viewers that are listening and watching this. Wow, that's freaking dope, man. Comes up next question is what are your thoughts when people call you OGs, legends, because you've been in the game for so long?
Mm,
Um, how do you intake that? There's a few people I met like, don't call me OG, but you know, you've been in the game for like, 20, 30 years, right? That
yeah.
I looked up in the past. Because for me, like, yeah, I call you OG because a peer is kind of like, someone elderly. You call them in, yeah. So
Yeah.
how do you intake that? Do you, like if I came up to you like, oh, it's Crumbs, he's an OG, he's a legend. What's up, dude? Like you embrace it or how?
Yeah, I totally embrace it, and not out of cockiness. I mean, who am I to tell you what to call me? You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
the way you look at me is how you look at me, you know? And that is what it is. Now, am I running around calling myself a legend? No. You know what I mean? But
Okay. Yeah.
if the
Yeah.
people are talking, the people are talking. You know what I mean? There must be a reason. You know what I mean? When I was 17, 18 in the game, I was calling Ken Swift and Crazy Legs and Storm legends. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? I was calling them OGs, and they were
yeah.
around, they were younger than I am now back at that time. You know what I'm saying? They were in their 30s. You know, I'm 44.
Uh-huh.
So so yeah, I accept it. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like I just look at it like a compliment. You know what I mean? That's it.
Right.
It just
Yeah.
shows that you're doing something right. You know, if people, you know, have positive things to say about you like that, it shows that the hard work pays off. And even if people don't like the way you break, you know what I'm saying? They still respect your body of work.
Awesome. Damn.
Mhm.
That's dope. That's dope. I noticed you're wearing a tribal hat. Are you able
Yeah.
to tell me a little bit more about the tribal gear and about it?
Yeah, man. Tribal was my first sponsor in breaking.
Oh, word.
Yeah,
Okay.
97. Yeah, and they actually took me on my first international trip, which was in Japan on a tribal
Ooh,
tour.
wow.
Yep. So man, I've been rocking with them since 97. Ain't nothing changed. That's the tribal clique family. Love those guys. Shout out to Bobby and the fam.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, they really supported breaking back then, like pretty heavy. And as you could see, if you were around that generation or look at videos from that generation, you could see that that from us, Style Elements and Rocksteady, rocking tribal at all the events globally, you know, we had all the breakers rocking tribal. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? Like we started a movement in the game, you know, so Tribal was heavy in the breaking game in the mid late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And yeah, we played a big part in that.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, when I started in '06, right? And within like the first 3 years, my crewmates, I had a homie, he was pretty heavy or breaking at the time. He doesn't break anymore, but I remember he's like, "Oh, it's tribal gear. It's crumbs." You know, he kept I was like, "What's
Mhm.
tribal gear?" You know, then like he kind of explained a little bit to me and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, okay, word. I didn't know too much of the history. And so I see the brand, I see the logo, and it represents to me, it's like breaking, because they've been heavily supporting the break community and other people's sponsorship. So that's really dope. And
Yeah, absolutely. And at a time where nobody really was sponsorship wise, you know what I mean? Like
oh
there was
yeah,
no Red Bull, there was no Monster. Monster didn't even exist. Monster didn't
yeah,
come around till like 2001, something like that. Like their company was, Red Bull was like, I don't know, somewhere in the late 90s, something like that. Um, so there wasn't really any sponsors, Tribal was like one of the only ones, out there
man.
sponsoring breakers and stuff. So got to give them some love for that.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Are you working in any projects, any buildups on the horizon? I know you've been innovating your YouTube channel, your dance studio, your fitness workshops type of stuff. Anything else you're working on?
Oh man, just the judging stuff. Like I'm always traveling, judging for the Olympic qualifiers and just judging other events, you know what I'm saying? Like outside of that as well.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Still competing, I just pick and choose what I
yeah,
want to do these days, what makes sense for me and is worth putting my time and effort into. Um, so just a
yeah.
little bit of everything, man. It's exhausting, you know.
Oh,
It's
I
a lot.
bet.
It's a lot. So I'm just yeah. Um
Speaking of that, when you said it's a lot, like how do you stay pure from like, because you obviously you're traveling a lot, definitely takes a lot of mental toll on your body, right?
mhm.
May not be physical, but within the unless you're training, but mentally, just like, hey, I gotta go to this competition, go this. Maybe some days you might not feel it, but sometimes you just know you have to go.
Yeah, it's that on switch, You got to know how to flip it. And no matter what you're feeling, if it's that day, it's that day. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And you got to just make it happen, like regardless of how you feel. So that comes with experience. You know what I mean? Some people can
hmm,
let that shut them down. And that kind of stuff pisses me off. You know what I'm saying? And I break better when
yeah.
I'm pissed off. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right, right.
so that could be a good thing for me, unless it's like an injury or something. Then that's a different story. And I've competed through injuries like probably half of all my competitions that I've
Man,
done in my career. You know.
wow. Yeah, that's amazing. And, definitely you've been a huge inspiration in the scene, definitely a great role model. Doing this till this day. You're 44 and you're still doing it. Back in the 90s, definitely legend, right? And definitely role model shaped the new generation and help them evolve into to sustain within the dance, the break dance, and how to do things to shape out in the long
Yeah.
term.
And I would
Um,
hope, like, one thing that I notice in today's the modern age of breaking, with all these new kids coming up, is a lot of them don't know who I am. A lot of them don't know the people from
yeah,
my era. A lot of them don't know why their favorite breaker is doing this certain move. You know what I mean? They don't know where it
yeah,
comes from. They don't know who's who and what's what. So a lot of the knowledge is lost. And
yeah,
I think that, you know, people should start doing a little bit more homework, because I know the mentality. I know because I hear it. I talk to kids and they're like, I don't want to watch that old shit. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like, I'm like, bro, like, you don't even know, dude. Like, it's a whole different world. Like, the originality was at an all-time high back then. Like, all different unique characters. Like, if you go look
Yeah,
at what's happening right now and then go look at what happened back then, it's two different things, man. I mean, people are implementing stuff that was happening back then, for sure. But now you have less originals, you know? So if kids would just go back and study and look and learn, they would be so much better. You know what I'm saying? And there's also so many styles and so many techniques and elements of the dance that they don't implement anymore. It's like lost arts of the dance, right? But
wow,
they would know that if they watched older footage. They would see like, oh shit, nobody does this kind of style anymore. Nobody does back rocks. Nobody does, you know what I mean? Like, so people just need to it's all right there. You know what I'm saying? YouTube. It's all, you can look up anything you want. Like when we were coming up, we didn't have YouTube. So we had to fly to New York and fly to these different countries to learn these different styles from people. And we had to go out and find these people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and actually footwork, like travel and trek and do all this stuff. We had to go above and beyond. Now it's at the power of their fingertips and they won't do it.
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's so easy. So I will never understand that, but I hope that gets better, and I hope people will start acknowledging and start like figuring out who's who and what's what, right? Because like, you look in any other sport or street art form, say skateboarding, right? Everybody knows who Tony Hawk is. Everybody knows Tony Hawk was the first to do a 300. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody knows whose move is whose move, and they got the names for it and everything because it's represented. You know what I'm saying? And the people in that scene, they showed love and they show respect and they honored the people that came before them and did it before them and created it. You know what I'm saying? Like created the moves and the original styles and all that stuff. It's not like that in our scene. Our scene is very like, it's all about me. Like,
I feel you,
shit, you know, like, so that shit needs to change, right? But we just got to educate better, man. Maybe it's on us. So that's why, like I said, on the YouTube stuff, just trying to educate more and more, and at least do my part, you know. But we all need to chime in and help educate.
Oh yeah, 100%. You know, the history that needs to keep out there in the archives of you know, footage and content, right? Because some of the stuff, someone can have, you know, hundreds and thousands of videos somewhere, but it's never been seen. So definitely, the YouTube on your fingertips, and the new generation hopefully getting deeper with the history and know where things came from the roots. So
yeah,
that's
on
fire.
I believe it's gonna happen. You know, in the next 2 years. You know what I mean? People are gonna start figuring things out. You know what I mean? They're gonna start getting curious, and then they're gonna be like, "Oh, so that isn't his move, and that wasn't his, and he did this in '94." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they just got to go look and search, man.
Damn, that's dope. That's really dope, man. You know, that's all the question I had for today. You know, I'm really blessed to have you on here on the show. And, you know, right before we get off, I like to do what's called the cipher round, right? And so it's pretty much, I'm gonna just throw down like 5 questions, whatever you can think of at the time, you know. Just they're pretty basic. So
awesome, let's rock it.
Let's hit it with the cipher. Dope. So do you have a favorite breakdance move?
Thread split. One of my original signature moves.
Oh yeah.
I got 1,000 ways to go in and out of it.
Dope. Do you have a favorite artist or musician?
Ooh.
That could be very broad, right?
Yeah, it's very broad. Damn.
I know it's tough. I like Linkin Park. I love Linkin Park. Their music, sometimes I'll break to it too, just because like I like it, right?
Linkin Park?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Crazy.
Damn. I would have to go with Eminem.
Eminem? Oh shit, yeah. You know, my first jam I won here in Oregon, Portland, Oregon. I was actually listening to Eminem, like some of his hard songs, like what was it, kind of the newest ones, like Not Afraid and a few other ones. I was like, I'm about to get pumped up to this and just like go at it, you know, like
and that's hard. The thing. That's why I said him, because he makes you feel so many different emotions. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a genius, bro. Like that guy, you know, he can go from super dark to super light. You know, he encompasses everything, and we're not even going to talk about the skills, man, and the
Right.
styles and the flavors. You know, so on and on and on. And his body of work is just insane, so extensive. Like nobody can deny that. So yeah,
Yeah.
M's the man.
Damn. Dope. Dope. Do you like pineapple on pizza?
No, I mean I don't mind it, but I
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
order it. You know what
Oh,
I'm saying?
okay.
Like it's on there, I'm gonna eat it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those
But I
stuff where it's
love
like,
pineapple though, but just not on pizza.
right, yeah, yeah. It's just one of those like hate
Mhm.
or love questions.
Yeah.
Are you currently reading any books, or do you have a favorite book or audiobook you're listening to?
Yeah, I am reading a book right now, but I've been training so much I haven't been able to read the past 2 weeks.
Okay.
Um, I'm trying to even remember the name of the book. Um, Shit, I forgot.
Okay.
But it's an interesting, very
Well,
interesting book.
okay. Dope, man. Dope.
Yeah, it teaches you. It's basically about the five different personalities of people and figuring out which type of personality you are, and understanding the
Okay.
other types of personalities that other people are. Like you could recognize it once you read about it and learn, you know, about all these different personalities of people. And then you could do better business that way. You know what I'm saying? Because you
Yeah.
understand how I talk to you may not be the same way I talk to the next person, right? Because of
Yeah.
our personality traits and stuff like that. So that book teaches you a lot about that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's great. Last question. If you had a chance to enter a competition for a 2 vs. 2, do you know who your partner would be?
Yeah, I'm doing one April 7th, Lords of the Floor
Oh, great.
2024, coming back, Style Elements, and it's me and Ruin.
Yeah. Ronnie Ruin,
Yeah.
right? Dope.
Mhm.
Sick.
So me and Remind did the original Lords of the Floor 2001 and 2002.
Uh-huh.
So big love and shout out to my brother Remind, man. I wish I was doing it with him. I mean, I loved it. I'm doing it with Ruin. It's great. Like that's
Yeah.
my crewmate. That's my brother. But just, you know, the nostalgia of Crumbs and Remind, you know. But for whatever he has his reasons, which I respect and everybody should respect why he's
Yes.
not jumping in. But he's still breaking. He's never stopped. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
yeah, so shout out to Remind.
Oh man, Ruin. I remember you did a content video, some of nostalgia, like one of your guys' routines on your Instagram. So I was pretty
Yeah, the
psyched
Cobra
to
routine. Mhm.
yeah. So that's really dope how you threw that down and you still do it to this day, right? So that's some fire stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and we hadn't done that in like over 10 years, you know what I'm saying? So, and he just came and we tried it once and then, okay, film it. You know, it's like clockwork, man. We've been working together for over 2 decades, you know, battling together, all that stuff. So we have
Wow.
good chemistry together, and I think that is going to set us apart from a lot of the teams
Mm,
that they have, because there's a difference between a crew and a team. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
we're a crew. You know what I'm saying? And not only a crew, we've been a crew for a long time, and we've been through the trenches together, and we have a lot of chemistry. So, you know, that is definitely to our advantage.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, man. Dope, man. I want to say thank you, Gary, on the show, taking the time to do this. I think you dropped a lot of knowledge, a lot of gems and nuggets that can help out who's watching or whoever gets value into this. I think it's very dope, especially with the full-time B-boy kind of breaking down a few things on there. Um, if people want to get in touch with you, what would be the best? Where can they find you?
I mean, Instagram's where it's at these days, right? Like
Yeah.
just at Bboy Crumbs right there on Instagram, youtube.com/Bboy Crumbs, you know, Facebook, all that stuff. So those are the spots, man. And if you message me, DM me, I always get back. You know what I'm saying? I ain't that dude that just ignores and stuff like that. So, you know,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
very approachable regardless of what people think. You know what I mean? If you see me at a jam, you can come up and talk to me. I'm gonna give everybody time. Um, yeah, man. I'm in it for everybody. So yeah, that's where you
Nice.
can reach me.
Wow.
And hopefully, you know, in person, you see me, come say what's up.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And before we log off, if we want to get you were out in Atlanta, Georgia, you run a dance studio down there. What was it called again? 60.
Sick Step Academy.
Sick Step Academy.
Yeah,
Okay.
not sick, SICK.
I'll say it again. I'll all that in the description below.
So it's sick, like SICK.
Sick Studio.
No, it's Sick Step Academy.
Sick Step.
So it's confusing because
Okay,
Sick
okay.
Step, you know what I'm saying? But it's Sick Step.
Okay. That's a little tongue twister.
I've had
for a
that
second.
name. Yeah, I've had that name since 2000. You know, I started it as a production company for our Style Elements videos that I would edit and produce. So it was like a production company at first, Sick Step Productions. And then I just morphed it into, you know, a dance school.
That's dope.
You know, 3 years ago. So Sick Step Academy. Yeah, sickstepacademy.com. Check it out. If you're ever in the Atlanta area, come through. First class is always free. Also, I have online courses. You could find them right there on the website. So yeah, there's plenty to rock with. Hell
yeah, man. Cool, man. Thanks again, Bboy Crumbs. We'll see you Lord of the Floors, right? Coming up.
Yeah, man.
So hyped, great. Great, man. If you find this channel valuable, give it a like, subscribe. You'll find it on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. Stay blessed, brother.
You have any last words or takeaways?
Support breaking businesses, not just brands, but businesses. Create your own. Invest in some if you can, get a chance. You know, find people out there who are passionate about something. See if you can work with them and invest into their ideas, especially if they're the ones doing the work, so you don't have to. And if not, investing, make it yourself. You don't understand how much you're really going to build the culture if you do that, right? Like you're really investing back into the culture and creating